What it do, what it do, what it do, what it do, soul visionaries and potential soul visionaries out there. I am your grateful soul brother, Sherrod Corn, and you are now rocking with the SoulVizion Powercast. You know that place where we keep it unfiltered and raw. We talk about anything from porn to politics. We'll even talk about the things you might have heard or even saw. Today, I want to talk to you about an issue that has probably caused many of us some disappointment at some point in our lives, and that's expecting ourselves from other people. Have you ever said, I would have never done that? After everything I've done for them, I would have been there for them if they needed me. I would never treat somebody I love like that. And you know what? You might be absolutely right. You wouldn't. But here's the problem. They're not you. Stop expecting you from other folks. You know, and sometimes the reason we stay disappointed with people is because we keep expecting them to think like us, love like us, give like us, communicate like us, show up like us. Bro, that's a recipe for disappointment. We're going to kick it though. I would have never done that to them. We've all said that before at some point in our lives. Man, I would have never done them like that. And it's probably true, you know. And I'm quite sure we've disappointed some people too. But, you know, hey, we're talking about how we treat folks. So you say, hey, I wouldn't have done them like that. But when you say that, you're measuring someone else's behavior using your character as the measuring stick. Think about that. You're using who you are to judge somebody else. They don't have the same, you know, they may not have grown up in the same conditions. They may not have gone through the same things in life. You know, everybody's on their different levels, on their different journeys. So they may not have traveled the path that you've traveled to get to where you are. So we can't expect them to be us because, you know, we think that, hey, I'm loyal, so they should be loyal. I answer the phone when somebody calls me. They should answer the phone when I need them, you know, because I wouldn't lie to them. They shouldn't lie to me. I wouldn't abandon them when shit get tough. They shouldn't abandon me. It sounds reasonable. You know, in a perfect world, that's how things work. In a perfect world, that's how it would go. It would go just like that, but life doesn't always work like that. It doesn't. People operate from their own character, values, experiences, emotional maturity, priorities, and sometimes from their own selfishness, not yours. That's why one of the hardest lessons in life is realizing everybody isn't going to do for you what you would have done for them. That doesn't mean you stop being a good person. It just means stop assuming that being good to somebody automatically guarantees that they're going to be good to you. And this one stings. It'll hurt. Because we sometimes assume that because we care deeply about somebody, they care equally as deeply about us. This isn't always true. Two people can be in the same friendship, same family, same relationship, same house, and have completely different levels of investment. You might be thinking, how can I help us? And while they're thinking, what can I get out of this? You might be thinking, damn, how do we fix this? And they might be thinking, how much longer am I willing to deal with this? You might be protecting the relationship while they're protecting themselves. And that's why you have to stop assuming everybody has the same heart simply because they're standing next to you. Pay attention to their behavior. People will often tell you exactly who they are without ever opening their mouths. Now, this is where you have to take some accountability for other folks' actions, because they showed you who they were time and time again. Because sometimes they didn't fool us. We fooled ourselves, you know. They showed us that they were inconsistent, but we kept on expecting consistency from them. They showed us that they couldn't keep a secret, but we kept on telling them our business. They showed us that they only called you when they needed something, but we kept on answering. They showed us that apologies don't lead to changed behaviors, but we kept on accepting apologies. They showed us that we weren't a priority, but we kept treating them like they were a priority. At some point, my soul visionaries, we have to stop being surprised by the behavior of some people that, that they have demonstrated over and over and over again. They showed you who they were. You know, sometimes people can say something and do something, and the two things don't align. And that's what happens a lot of times in this case. They tell you one thing and then show you another. Or they may not even tell you anything. It's just about you and your expectations. Believe this is the person they are. And that's based on repeated patterns. They keep doing the same things over and over again, but we keep forgiving, and expecting something different. You know what they say, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. See, because eventually you're not dealing with a misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding. You're dealing with information. You're dealing with information they're giving you. They're showing it to you. Now it's up to you to do something with that information. Now, I'm going to make something very clear, you know, because I'm dead set against relationships that are transactional. It shouldn't be a transactional relationship. I'm not saying, you know, every time I do something for you, you got to do something for me. It's not one of those type of relationships. It's not, oh, I did this for you. Now you owe me. I paid $500 for that, so you got to buy me something of equal value. No, that's not love. That's a relationship invoice. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can't live like that. You can't do tit for tat. You know, healthy relationships do require reciprocity, though. It does require that. There should be some give and take. You shouldn't constantly be the one always calling in, always apologizing, planning, forgiving, sacrificing. You shouldn't be the one always trying to repair the relationship while the other person just exists, feeling entitled to your love and your efforts. Bruh, you can't keep pouring, what they say, you can't keep pouring a gallon into somebody who keeps giving you a teaspoon and then convince yourself that eventually they'll bring you a bucket. You feel me? At some point, you got to recognize there's an imbalance. Reciprocity doesn't mean everything has to be exactly 50-50, you know, all day, every day. I believe in everybody got to give 100. Sometimes, though, your 100 is not going to equal their 100. You just give me what you can, because every given day, your 100 may not be as good as the 100 you gave me yesterday. Might not be as good as the 100 you gave me today, and whatever. But we do expect reciprocity. We do, you know, we got to realize that sometimes you got to carry more. Sometimes they're going to carry more. That's just life. That's just life in general. That's just, you know, but over time, there should be evidence that both of you care enough about the relationship and you're both working to make it a healthy relationship together. It can't be one-sided. Sometimes we don't have relationships with who people actually are. We have relationships with who we believe they could become or we hope they become. That's a dangerous way to look at relationships, or that's a dangerous relationship to be in, because potential will have you holding on to somebody for years, waiting on a version of them that has never really existed. It's not even in them to be that kind of person, but we're hoping. You know, you say, oh, I know they could do better. Maybe. I know they got a good heart. Maybe. I know one day they're going to realize I was good to them. Possibly. Who knows? One day they may. But you don't build healthy relationships on maybe. You build them on behavior. Potential tells you what somebody could become, right? Patterns tell you who you're actually dealing with at this moment, right now. And if somebody wants to change, sweet, beautiful. Wow, that'd be nice. Let them change. But don't destroy your peace waiting for somebody else's transformation that may or may not happen. Here's something we oftentimes get confused. Accepting somebody for who they are doesn't mean you have to approve of their behavior. You can say, I accept, you know, that this is who you are. I'm okay. This is you. And then you could also say at the same time, both things can be true at the same time. It's because this is who you are, I need to change your access to me. That's growth. That's a display of growth right there. You don't have to argue somebody into becoming the person you need them to be. You don't have to keep explaining why their behavior hurts you. You don't have to keep trying to convince somebody to value you. Sometimes you simply have to recognize this person cannot give me what I keep expecting from them, and adjust yourself accordingly. Maybe they're somebody you can talk sports with, but no, not somebody you can tell your deepest thoughts to. Maybe there's somebody you can love, but it's just somebody you can't build with. Maybe they're family, but that doesn't mean they get unlimited access to your life. Everybody doesn't have to be removed. Sometimes people just need to be repositioned. There's so many people walking around like this, hurt. They allow somebody from the past to destroy their present and their future being of who they are. You know, here's the other side of all of what we're talking about. When people disappoint us, there's a temptation to become dark, cold, angry. I'm not doing anything for nobody anymore. Bump that. I'm good. I ain't doing nothing for nobody. Can't nobody get nothing from me. Don't do that. Don't allow somebody else's inability to appreciate your heart to make you ashamed of having a heart. If you're loyal, stay loyal. If you're generous, stay generous. If you're compassionate, stay compassionate. If you're somebody who keeps your word, keep keeping your word. But add a little something to all of that. It's just one little word. You gotta add some discernment to that now. You know, everybody doesn't deserve the same version of you. I've told people many times before, everybody doesn't get the same version of me. You can have a good heart without giving everybody access to it. You can love people without allowing them to use you. You can forgive people without inviting them back into the same position they abused. You can care about somebody and still recognize you can't come this close to me anymore. I can't let you in anymore. And if it's somebody you really love, it hurts, but you have to protect yourself. You got to protect your peace. That's not bitterness. That's just wisdom. So before you get angry because somebody didn't do what you would have done, ask yourself this. Did this person actually promise anything to you? Did you just assume they would do it because that's what you would have done? That's a big difference. Sometimes we're angry at people for breaking agreements they never really made. We created expectations in our own minds, then punish them emotionally when they don't meet them. You know, we get mad at people because, oh man, you know, I did this for such and such and they didn't do nothing for me. I bought them something for their birthday, but they ain't buy nothing for mine. And now you getting mad, you upset, you know? And then it's like, we got to realize that communication matters. We can't have unspoken expectations in a relationship. We have to let people know what we want. We got to discuss these things. If you need something, say it. You got to be upfront. Say it. If something matters to you, communicate it. If you have an expectation, discuss it. Discuss it in the beginning. Let people know who you are, what you want from day one, so that there's no mix-ups. You know what I'm saying? Don't make people take a test they didn't know they were taking and then get mad when they fail. But once you've communicated your needs, once you've told them, once y'all had that conversation, once you've been clear about what you want, once they've had opportunities to show you differently and the same behavior continues, now you have the information you need. And what you do with that information, that's your responsibility. My soul visionaries out there, stop expecting yourself from everybody else. Your loyalty is your loyalty. Your heart is your heart. Your integrity is your integrity. Your ability to love is your ability to love. Your willingness to show up for people says something about your character. It doesn't guarantee their character. So stop saying, I would have never done that to them. Maybe you wouldn't have. And that's cool. That's a beautiful thing. But they're not you. They are not you. Learn who people are. Now, learn who they actually are, not for who you want them to be. You know, we do that all the time. We envision the potential that these folks may have to become the people that we want them to be. You know what I'm saying? And how can I put this? We have to watch patterns. We have to watch their behaviors, not just listen to their words, because words are smooth. Some people are very good with words, but their actions show otherwise. You got to respect the information their actions give you. You know what I'm saying? You have to respect. Hey, all the things they're doing, they're not speaking any words. Guess what? They're giving you information without the words. Sometimes what they say, action speaks louder than words. When you see that they're not who you want them to be, you got to adjust the access, adjust their access to you, and protect your peace without losing the good parts of yourself. Don't become, angry. One of life's hardest lessons in life is realizing that everybody isn't going to do for you what you would do for them. But one of the greatest signs of growth is when you finally stop expecting them to. Until next time, my soul visionaries, it's 2026 and we still in the mix. I want y'all to keep growing, keep learning yourself, and keep elevating. Peace.